Welcome to this deep dive analysis. Today, we're unpacking what is honestly one of the most fascinating 5,000-year-old cold cases in all of human history. We're just looking at a story here. We're looking at the exact point where ancient mythology collides head-on with modern scientific discovery. We're going in search of the lost city of Dwarka.
So, picture this. It's 1983. You're out on the restless waters of the Arabian Sea, just off the coast of Gujarat. A team of Indian archaeologists, strapped into their diving gear, stands at the edge of a boat. They take a breath, and they plunge into the blue. As they descend past the sand and the rocks, they see something completely unnatural. We're talking massive stone blocks, towering walls with intricate craftsmanship, an entire submerged landscape. And it forces one chilling question. Is an entire ancient city truly buried in the depths of the sea?
Part 1. The Legend of Dwarka, the Golden City.
To wrap our heads around what they actually found down there in 83, we first have to look back at the sheer epic scale of the Puranas. According to the ancient texts, after facing 17 brutal attacks on Mathura by Jarasandha, Lord Krishna decided it was time to leave. He needed to protect his people. He needed an impenetrable fortress, a true utopian city. So he prayed to the ocean god Varundev, who granted him exactly 12 yojanas of land right in the middle of the sea. To put that into our modern measurements, that's about 153.6 kilometers of reclaimed land. Essentially, a massive artificial island built thousands of years ago.
And what a city it was. I mean, it was designed by Vishwakarma himself, the god of architecture. The texts describe over 900 palaces sparkling with gold, silver, and precious gems, specifically built for Krishna's loved ones. But actually, wait, it wasn't just beautiful, it was an absolute engineering marvel. It boasted highly advanced irrigation systems, clean water ponds, and these highly specialized docks designed perfectly for maritime trade. It rivaled, or honestly probably exceeded, the planning of our modern megacities. It was completely self-sufficient.
Part 2. The Curses and Destruction.
Okay, let's dive into this, because where there's incredible creation, destruction is usually waiting in the shadows. It all started with a curse from Gandhari after the incredibly bloody Mahabharata war. She declared that just as her lineage was destroyed, Krishna's Yaduvanshi lineage would meet the exact same fate. So this golden city was suddenly living on borrowed time. And the sequence of events that actually triggers the downfall, it is absolutely bizarre. Listen to this. Krishna's son, Samba, decides to play a prank on some powerful, all-knowing sages by dressing up as a pregnant woman. Well, the sages are furious. They curse Samba, saying he will give birth to an iron mace that will destroy his entire clan. Terrified, the clan crushes this mace into tiny pieces and throws it into the sea, right? But a fish swallows a piece, a fisherman catches the fish, and a hunter named Jara buys that piece of iron and turns it into an arrowhead. Later, during a festival, Krishna retreats to the forest. The hunter, Jara, mistakes Krishna's foot for a deer and shoots him with that exact arrow. And upon Krishna's departure from the world, the ocean simply rises up and swallows Dwarka whole.
Part 3. The search begins. Discovering the deep.
Now, for centuries, historians just brushed Dwarka off as a myth, They'd say, it's a religious fairy tale, cities don't just get swallowed by the ocean. But then, the 20th century rolled around. Fishermen and pilots flying over the Arabian Sea started reporting these strange, straight lines and unnatural geometric shapes under the water. The official timeline really kicks off in 1963, when the Archaeological Survey of India does their first dig at Bet Dwarka and finds ancient pottery. Then, in the 1970s, they uncover a 6th century copper plate from King Sinahad that explicitly mentions Krishna's residence there. This was huge, the first historical document bridging the gap. This catches the eye of Dr. S.R. Rao, a senior ASI official. By 1979, he initiates India's first serious marine archaeology effort, which leads directly to that fateful 1983 underwater expedition we talked about at the start.
And let me tell you, Dr. Rao faced immense pushback. Critics constantly accused him of just chasing myths, but he stood firm. He had this incredible mindset, basically stating, I consider these texts as historical documents, not just religious books. If Rome and Athens can be excavated, why not Dwarka? He simply refused to let the skepticism of the academic world stop his search. So what did they actually find? Remember, Dr. Rao's team was horribly underfunded. He started the expedition with, wait for it, 800 rupees. He literally bought the team's food out of his own pocket. Yet over 12 dives using basic gear, they found this. A massive stone wall. 560 meters long and 30 meters deep. That is undeniable proof of human-made urban planning. They found heavy three-hole stone anchors, proving this was a bustling ancient port with advanced navigation. And they found pottery, brass, and seals dating between 1500 to 3000 BCE. They finally had literal, physical proof of a sunken maritime civilization.
Part 4. High-tech archaeological proof.
But of course, the scientific community demanded more. They needed hard, modern data. So fast forward to 2001, the ASI teams up with the National Institute of Ocean Technology. They bring serious, state-of-the-art tech to the dark waters of the Gulf of Kutch. They aren't just relying on human eyes and murky water anymore. They used advanced sonar mapping and sub-bottom profilers, basically sending acoustic sound waves deep into the ocean floor to map the hidden layers below. They digitally scanned over 4,000 square meters, and those sound waves, they bounced back off massive, perfectly square limestone building blocks, terracotta seals, and incredible urban drainage systems.
But here is where the story gets absolutely wild. When they sent these artifacts to international labs for carbon dating, the results shocked the entire world. Some recovered pieces dated back 5,000 years, perfectly matching the era of the Mahabharata. But one piece of pottery was dated to be 9,000 years old. That doesn't just push the timeline back. That completely shatters previous historical timelines. It predates even the Harappan civilization.
Part 5. Science validates the myth.
Okay, so the evidence was now indisputable. A massive, incredibly advanced city existed exactly where the text said it did. But that brings us to the biggest question of all. If the city was real, what on earth actually sank it? Was it a divine curse, or was it something geological? Enter the sea level rise theory. A major scientific study tracked 20,000 years of Arabian Sea data, and the findings showed that around 5000 BCE, there was a sudden, violent, and massive rise in global sea levels, accompanied by devastating tsunamis. And get this, it wasn't just in India. Geological records show similar coastal drownings all the way from Indonesia to the Caribbean during this exact same period.
Check out this number, 25. Scientists discovered that between 9,000 and 11,000 years ago, global sea levels were exactly 25 meters lower than they are today. To put that into perspective, the sunken ruins of Dwarka sit comfortably within that depth. It perfectly aligns with where the ancient coastline was before this massive marine shift swallowed the land.
And this brilliantly illustrates the crossover we've been tracking. On one side, mythology tells us of Gandhari's curse, the tragic end of an era, and the ocean rising up to swallow the city. On the other side, hard geological science tells us of a rapid global sea level rise and massive tsunamis during that exact same time frame. The ancient narrative beautifully, almost perfectly mirrors the hard scientific data. It's like the curse and the climate event are just two sides of the very same coin. Part 6. Modern Echoes Dwarka Today. So where does all of this leave us today? Well, the search for Dwarka is no longer an underground, heavily criticized mission. It has stepped right into the global spotlight. In February 2024, the site reached a major modern milestone. India's Prime Minister, accompanied by Navy divers and scientists, actually scuba dived down to these very underwater ruins. He offered a peacock feather to the submerged foundations, bridging ancient heritage with modern recognition. It was a fascinating culmination of a journey that started with Dr. Rao's 800 rupee budget and eventually resulted in global visibility for the lost city. So today, Dwarka essentially exists in two very distinct realities. Up above ground, it's this thriving pilgrimage city, full of life. Down below the surface, it's a silent, sunken ruin. But together, they stand as this profound testament to a culture that has literally endured time, tide, and millennia of history. It proves that a civilization's memory can survive both the passage of thousands of years and the crushing depths of the ocean. Which leaves us with a final, pretty profound thought to ponder. Are faith and science simply two different paths leading to the exact same truth? Because as we look out at the waves of the Arabian Sea, the story of Dwarka reminds us that sometimes the myths we whisper to our children are just history waiting to be rediscovered. Thank you so